Welcome everyone to another edition of 10K Movies. This is Ryan, joined as always by Tom and JD. Guys, how we doing?
Good to be back. How you guys doing? How you doing, JD?
Can't be any better. It's golf weather.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Beautiful weather recently. I mean, where I'm at, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure it's
it was like 80 today.
Insane.
It's
Oh, it's
crazy.
been lovely.
It's literally summer now.
you're like 82 and sunny. I was like, I haven't been hot. Dude, I haven't been hot in like probably a good like 6 months.
You're in a drought or what?
Holy shit. Outside at least. Like I hadn't been like outside in short sleeves and shorts and like I'm freaking hot. Today
It feels amazing.
Oh yeah, it was nice. Getting a little sun for once, you know.
Pool ball weather.
Pool ball weather. It's UBALL.
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 We're not sponsors or anything, but if you guys haven't heard the new craze, by craze I mean I saw one Instagram ad for it, but it's all about UBALL. If you like basketball, check it out. Tyreek Hill loves it.
Give the listeners a brief synopsis of UBALL, Tom.
So basically, I don't know how you guys, I mean, I feel like I'm outing myself a little bit here because basically what I like to do, I picked this up in college where like I was getting up really early for whatever, drinking all night and had to study the next day. Picked up something that was like a life changer, which is like the 20-minute nap. I know a lot of people say that like can't pull it off. I love it.
I can't do it.
So, you know, my dog had surgery. He's been getting us up at like 5 a.m. And, you know, today snuck off a little 20-minute ski, little nap, and woke up. And you know, when you're in that phase, you're like half asleep, half not. And I just clicked on Instagram and I was going through like stories and I saw this ad for these people were playing basketball on grass. And like, you know, when you're half asleep, like when you're kind of in that daze, you're like, what am I seeing? And these people were like slamming on the beach, like dunking in the grass. It's like, what is this? It's called UBALL. So I had to look it up. Like, I'm usually not someone to fall for like Instagram ads at all, or like any ads. I'm just like, no. If I haven't heard of you myself, like you're probably like not legit. No, I looked it up, and I mean, the gist of it is this: basically it's a portable basketball goal. So I was really interested until I went to their website and I realized they're $500. So, yeah, but basically the gist of it is basketball. The rules are on the site, which I love. It's very simple. It's no dribbling. You get 3 steps. So basically the NBA already. It's 3-on-3 and baskets are versus 1 and 2 points. It looks like a lot of fun, like just setting up a hoop in your yard and like, if I were playing, I'd say like roughhousing is encouraged. Like, you're not playing like reach-ins, like you bump a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of on my wish list. If you guys are ever looking to give me a Christmas present,
just gotta get the. I think the hardest part about that is just getting enough people to play. But I'm sure if you just post up a basketball goal in the middle of a field, that people will gravitate towards it. So
in the middle of the beach.
Yeah.
You build it, they'll come.
Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't even look like I think some assemblies acquired based on like quick research of it, but it doesn't look too hard to.
It says ultra easy setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of I mean, we haven't talked about this. I don't even know if we talked about this separately, but that slam ball is coming back.
Yes.
Kind of reminds me of that. But I don't know. I got to get a squad for that because it's been discontinued for like 15 years, I think. But I love that. I would love to play. That's actually like one of my dreams is to be able to play slam ball and or Wipeout, like the game show.
Wipeout would be sick.
Love that. I don't have to be on the show. I just want to go on the course. Like I would love to try to.
I'd love to see you on the show.
Well, I mean, yeah, if they want to cast me, I'm open to it. I don't even know if they're still making new episodes, but
no idea.
Either one of those, that would be fun.
Wasn't John Cena hosting that at one point, or someone random?
Rob Riggle, I think, was.
Oh yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah, that was the last guy that I saw in there.
I'm with you on slam ball. Like I think we were talking about the other day. The 3 of us were talking about golf and like how JD should pursue golf, like the amateur golf route.
Yeah,
I think like, I mean, we're all kind of in like our late 20s, which is kind of sad to say, but If there was one sport I'd pursue professionally at this age, like I think honestly be slam ball.
You gotta get in the gym. Those guys are huge.
I know. I just started working out Tuesday.
Oh, there you go. Perfect
Monday.
timing.
You're
Yeah.
massive, man.
So exactly. So it's like all about being lean and cut with some muscle, so I can absorb that contact at the rim. There's no breakaway dunks. That's the thing.
No.
Literally, you have to posterize someone to score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hit a three, which I'm pretty sure they can goaltend.
I was gonna say, yeah, goaltending. I
Dumbest
think,
shit ever.
like you want roughhousing encouraging U-ball. I think they
Yeah.
encourage goaltending and slam ball. So
I would
But,
love to play it.
yeah.
I'd love to play it like you said, like just get 10
it's like
guys.
a pickup game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pickup game where I can freaking dominate.
Yeah,
I'd
exactly.
love to posterize you.
I'm not playing defense.
Elbow in the rim.
I think we do actually have a picture of that.
Yeah, we do.
Not slam ball, but just regular basketball.
Me
No.
and JD also have a fond memory of us getting posterized, both of us at the
Middle
same
school or high
time.
school.
Middle school, I think.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Oh
Literally
yeah.
at the same time by like the nicest guy in our grade school, and then he laughed at us.
Pretty sure you apologized and laughed.
He laughed a lot and
It's even
apologized.
worse.
Honestly, made it hurt 10 times.
Oh, no.
Me and JD
Yeah.
threw over the rim like a little puppy
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah. Off the court.
It was rough. Yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. So,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of, I mean, this is quite the tangent, but speaking of grade school, I guess you could say, and with the topical background that Tom's got on, I know we're all big Harry Potter fans, and they just announced, I think it was this like 2 days ago or something, that they are, I guess you can call it remake. I wouldn't say remaking. They're just making a Harry Potter series on HBO, which is pretty sweet. I think personally, I mean, I love the movies, love the books too, obviously. Movies are awesome in terms of, I think they follow books pretty well, but being a movie, you're kind of limited to, how much you can fit in there. But I think honestly, this is like Harry Potter. If you're going to transform it into some sort of media, I think a TV show is perfect because you can handle like a couple chapters each episode. Depending on how many episodes it is, but like 10 episodes for each year of the book or whatever, or however you want to call it. I don't know if that's like the exact plan, but I think that is awesome. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think no, it's funny. Again, I'm not trying to take credit for this idea, but probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking to somebody about it, and it was like when Game of Thrones was huge. I think it was like the last season of Game of Thrones, or like before people like hated Game of Thrones. It was like like going into the last season, and I was talking to somebody about Harry Potter with that, and we're talking about the movies, and like the movies are great, but like you can't jam like I don't even know how many pages are in Harry Potter, like 5,000 or something. Whatever, I don't know. You can't jam that much into like a 2-hour movie or a 2.5-hour movie. And I was talking to somebody who's like, wouldn't it be cool if they did like an HBO type series where like each book was a season? And so they're doing it. So
I think that was me, Tom, because I think
it was. I was just saying, I think we talked about that.
We talked about it a few times.
Yeah,
I just hope they show Peeves. I want to see Peeves.
Yeah.
I also, I mean, HBO usually keeps it pretty explicit, so I hope it's just rated R. TVMA.
That reminds me of I was listening to Bill Burr's podcast. This is from years ago when Planet of the Apes was coming out, like the newest one. He's like, I'm not seeing that movie. It's rated PG-13. My planet got invaded by apes. You think I'm going to censor my language?
That's true. You're going to be saying anything.
That's the reason I'm not going to watch it. It's already not got my attention. So,
that's a good point, because I mean, not that Disney would ever have the rights to it or anything, but it's a lot better. I have a lot more confidence. One, just because HBO kills all of their shows.
Yeah.
Like they have the best catalog, in my opinion, of the streaming services of shows. And yeah, the fact that I mean, J.K. Rowling, I think, is involved heavily in it, but in terms of like just pushing it out there, like that they have, they're in charge of that, I have a lot, more confidence in it. And And I don't think, and what I've seen online too, like I don't think too many people are like, it seems like everyone's like overwhelmingly positive about it, not saying like, oh, like, leave it be and everything, which honestly, most of the time I am kind of like let it be and everything, even though people are going to try to make money and you can't blame them for that, I guess. But this, I think it's a little different. Like you said, Tom, I mean, you came up with the idea for good reason because I think it just, works better on a show. So I'm like so excited for it.
I agree. Same.
Very, very, very pumped.
More dragons.
I mean, you guys,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys are big Star Wars fans, so like you guys kind of
Yeah.
get all the kind of like spin-offs and stuff, and like I'm not a huge Star Wars fan at all, so I don't really know. You guys obviously have gone through that with like the different movies and like Mandalorian and stuff and like the highs and lows of it, but like with Harry Potter, there hasn't been much about it except for like the
Fantastic Beasts,
Fantastic Beasts, which like
that series is trash.
yeah, I'm
Oh.
not crazy. I'm not crazy about it, but like I know that's not like the original story. So this is kind of the first thing they've done with like the original story and characters and like based on the book since obviously the movies. So I mean, obviously you always hope they don't screw it up. But I mean, if they do screw it up, it's like we're in the same boat we are now. But it could be
Yeah.
awesome. So it's like I don't know. I don't see the downside because like if it sucks, and you just bitch about it to your friends and you move on.
Yeah.
If it's great though, it's great, and you have something to watch like forever. Because I mean, I know JD, we used to, in high school when we'd all go over to the Dickie's basement, always counted Harry Potter being on and background noise. So
we had like 10 DVDs, 8 were Harry
Mhm.
Potter, one was like The Longest Yard, one was like
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
That'd be all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
That is actually the perfect catalog.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I think we're all pumped for that. So that was the most like recent topical news. What else we did, I guess these last 2 weeks. So if you have been following along with us, we didn't record last week. We had some scheduling conflicts. So if you have been following along and everything, we have been, watching a movie every week and reviewing it, but other thing that we're doing is listening to pop Billboard hits from each year, and throughout the week. So we're talking about 2 years this week to catch up for last week. So it's 1984 and 1985. I personally thought these were pretty weak years. I know, Tom, you were and have been on this train for a couple weeks now that 80s is just kind of tough to get through. It just kind of blends together. But still some diamond in the roughs, here and there for sure. But I guess we can start with 1984. So this one I think was my least favorite across the board for the, what is it, like 12 or so that we've done so far. I just thought it was pretty lean. And the pick I have, I'm probably gonna get shit for this one, but I actually love the song, and it's "Time After Time" by Cyndi Lauper.
Dude, that was in my top 5. Like
I love that song.
It's actually great. Like
Yeah.
the only downside was I always thought it was super depressing, but after hearing it, I'm like, this is actually
No, I
good. Like
I thought the same thing, but you can kind of look at it different ways, I thought.
Right.
And it has been covered by, a few different like other bands and everything, which I like those almost as much, but I think, yeah, I like this original the most of the ones I've heard. So that was my pick for 84. What about you guys?
I agree. I mean, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm being like a douche on these, music sessions because I'm just like I hate every year pretty much. But this one, I don't think it was my least favorite just because like there weren't a ton that I loved, but there were a handful that like you at least kind of knew. Like I picked a kind of a surprise pick for me, like not one I really listen to. I usually go with one I've at least like familiar with and might listen to like semi-regularly or like more like a classic, I feel like. But I went with Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics, which
Mm.
as of recently, it's more common. It was kind of popularized and sampled by The Weeknd, that song Secrets from a couple years ago that was really big. So it's kind of like the hook of that, like the talking in your sleep is kind of sampled from this song, which I think this song actually might be better than The Weeknd's. So that was my one.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I know you would. But honorable mentions I had were, John Cougar, Pink Houses.
Yeah, that was a good
my
one.
number two. And then I also have to go with Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. One, I love Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
He's
Mainly
Billy
because
Joel every year.
I love Billy Joel, but mainly because of the Step Brothers.
Oh yeah.
The Step Brothers reference. So yeah, that's what I have from this year. Again, it wasn't great, but JD, what'd you think? Maybe you love this year. Maybe you've got some
I
positive.
did not love this year. I was just pretty this year. I didn't think it was a bottom feeder, but I didn't. It wasn't close to my top. I seem to like it more than Ryan. My choice was "Somebody's Watching Me" by Rockwell.
Oh
I think it's just really catchy.
yeah, I like that one.
I've heard that one before, but yeah, that was my favorite.
I feel like that's been in like a lot of commercials and stuff too.
Probably.
Yeah, I like that one though. That was one of the ones I had like to go between. So yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah. And then if we snake drafted, I can lead us off with 85 too.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So this was a song. I don't know if I heard it before or not, but it's "Night Shift" by the Commodores.
Oh yeah.
Also similar. It's like I think I've heard it before, but just thought it was kind of catchy, like the beat. So yeah, pretty simple choice. I wasn't a huge fan of 1985. I think I liked 84 more actually.
Okay.
Although I didn't give 85 a fair listen. I think I got through like 50 songs.
Yeah. I 85 I think is agreed. I think it's agree with Ryan more so. I think it's slightly better than 84, but this is actually a super easy pick for me because it's a song I've been listening to a ton lately. Like just in general, outside of our music, a little evolution, but it's "Money for Nothing" by Dire Straits.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Dude, it is so.
I don't remember.
You listen to that at the gym or what?
Well, one of my coworkers literally played it in like a meeting the other day. I was like, "This is the greatest guitar riff of all time." And like, it's funny. I saw a meme. Like, as if you guys listen to it, you'll see. But I saw a meme like actually recently too. It was like Dire Straits coming up with the hardest guitar riff of all time to then sing about installing microwaves. Which if you listen to it, it's hilarious. Like, after listening to it, I kind of see what they're saying. It's basically talking about like how you should be a rock star because that isn't real work. And like him and his friends, they had to like sell microwaves and like they worked at like some sort of appliance store where like that's actual work. So you should listen to it though. It will literally get you pumped. Like the first minute, it's like, holy shit, this is sick. It's a great song. I love Dire Straits, the band. So
I was gonna say, isn't that your second pick from them?
It probably is, to be honest. Yeah, it was. I picked, I think, Sultans of Swing.
Yeah.
I've actually been listening to them a lot lately.
12 years in, Tom's picked Billy Joel's and Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Greatest Speedwagon, who was on this list too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm keeping it pretty diverse.
Yeah, I mean, for my pick, I guess pretty much the same. Well, I think JD, you said you liked 84 better, but I mean, I thought at this point it's just kind of all, like I said, blending together. Like there's like a big middle chunk of these playlists that it's just like super slow love songs.
Oh yeah,
that seem like they're just by like the same person. So kind of had to sift through there a little bit. But this one, a song I've heard plenty of times. It's on my golf playlist. Great, summer song. Coincidentally, summer's in the title. It's "Summer '69" by Bryan Adams. Just a good upbeat tune that I've always enjoyed. So
is that because you usually shoot 69 or?
I wish I shot that 69 on maybe a 9, but gets me in the mood for just kind of being outside in the summer.
It's a great outdoor song.
I think it's probably why it was called that. But so that wraps up another edition. I know we had the double feature this week, so that was 85. So we'll have 1986 next week. Getting closer to 90s, which I think we're going to be more invested in and everything. So looking forward to that. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, if anyone's been following along, you had 2 weeks to watch this classic that we're about to talk to today called Roadhouse.
From the summer of '89.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Actually, yeah.
Um, this is a movie that this was my choice this time. So one, I picked it. I said this or 2 weeks ago that I picked it because Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be in like the reboot of it. So probably gonna watch it because I love him. So wanted to watch the original. Two, it's just a movie that I've heard's like the ultimate like guy movie or whatever. Like a lot of people are like Roadhouse, like let's just go watch Roadhouse. But never,
Never
you know,
I love it.
I've heard that a lot actually. Like on other movies and stuff. But yeah, so I wanted to watch it to, just see what all the hype was about. Can see how this could be a little divisive, so we'll get into it for sure. But yeah, just to give everyone who may have not seen it, a quick synopsis on IMDb, as always, pretty easy. A tough bouncer is hired to tame a dirty bar. So it's
Exactly.
interesting, and that is what happens. And I can give my thoughts here first, but well, let me share the document as always. But even though I think he was technically called a cooler, which I didn't really know there's a difference between that and a bouncer, but I guess we can talk about that. So Roadhouse, yeah, I mean, it was a entertaining watch. I'll give it that for sure. This gave major vibes to a movie we have discussed before, not on these airways, but some other airwaves that have been on our lost tapes, if you want to call them that, called Porky's. If you have seen it, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen it, don't bother. It's my least favorite movie of all time that I've seen. Luckily this is like better in my opinion. And it's actually pretty, like, I still gave it like a decent score, I would say, but still entertaining. Not a whole lot happens, obviously, which I don't think it's like trying to be like this, masterpiece, but I did still enjoy parts of it. I think Patrick Swayze's like cool as hell, actually. He was good in this, but yeah, my score is a 46 out of 100. So lowest score that we have given, I think, for a movie so far, of, since recording this. But yeah, still I know it's a low score, but enjoyed it. Enjoyed watching it. So what about you guys? I don't know who's next, Tom or JD.
I think I am next. I believe.
I think
But
you're
yeah, I think honestly we're gonna feel similar on this movie. Like, I kind of love it. Like, I think it holds a special place in my heart because I kind of love it, but it's so bad.
Yes, it's a good bad movie.
So yeah, my score is honestly not gonna reflect how I feel about this movie, but this movie had me dying laughing at points. Like, I feel like it's if you mixed the show Bar Rescue with Cobra Kai and Moneyball.
Moneyball.
What? Where does that factor in?
I want to hear more about that. It's
Yeah.
The Moneyball aspect, I knew you guys were probably going to ask about that. It's when he's like, he's cleaning up the bar like the second day of work, and he's like calling him in for like a players only meeting basically, and he's like, be nice, like you treat him with respect. It reminded me of Moneyball when like he's in the boardroom or whatever, and they're like, what do we do? And he's like, he gets on base. Like, it was like Patrick Swayze was literally brought in, like he was scouted out from like the middle of the country, like he's the best he's the best bouncer in the country. We got to bring him in, and he's like, he's got no budget, and he's trying to shape these guys up, and he's like, teaching them the strategy of just being nice, even though like for some reason somebody gets a knife pulled on them every single night in this bar.
I was gonna say
there's literally no law enforcement, which I'll get to. It's one of my biggest fucking gripes. But yeah, all that being said, I got this movie at a 43. So we're actually pretty close, spot on. So JD, what do you think on this?
So we're all right in the same wheelhouse. I got it at a 46 too.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of incredible that you put that in there. But yeah, I kind of like what you guys talked about. I just think this movie is, I mean, it's kind of fun to watch, but as far as the whole plot goes, it's so bad.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun, but it's so bad. But yeah, I mean, I had an idea of what it was going in. Kind of lived up to the expectations of pretty much nonstop action and not a whole lot of plot. Kind of reminds me of like a really bad John Wick.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, not thrilled with this movie. Might watch it again at some point, not soon, but yeah.
Not itching to watch it, but
I'm glad I watched it once.
same. That's how I feel about it.
It's worth at least one watch. I mean, I know we all gave it bad scores, but it's worth watching at least one time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about that, where it's like this movie's terrible. Like, I don't know if I'd go as far as putting Porky's in that category, but I think Roadhouse is in that category where it's like it's definitely watchable. I think.
I agree. I wouldn't recommend Porky's to anybody. That movie's
Yeah. That's damn near borderline. For reference, I gave that a 5 out of 100. That's basic, and honestly, I think that's too high. And I think, like, I never will recommend that to anyone. This one, like, you know, if you want to just turn your brain off and just like go into it knowing, you know, this isn't gonna, you know, change your outlook on life at all, but you're gonna have fun with it, then I'd recommend that for you if you're looking for something like that. But yeah, that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I agree. Usually with movies, like I like to put myself in that person's like position, you know, like watching a spy movie, like you kind of want to be a spy, or you watch like, you know, The Big Short, you kind of want to work in like banking or whatever. I have no interest in being a bouncer.
Yeah.
Like even while I was watching that, and even he's doing like really cool stuff, still no interest. Like
Also, for being such a good bouncer, he literally gets stabbed like once a week.
oh yeah, like nightly.
Like,
Also,
I mean, he gives himself stitches. Like,
I also like, was he in New York or where was he originally? Like, you know, recruited?
Originally.
Yeah, well, I don't get it.
Kansas, no, outside of Kansas City.
Yeah, he's in like Missouri or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know how some guy in Missouri headhunts a guy in New York and they're paying more than New York for.
That's what reminded me of the Moneyball aspect, where it's like you've got like a database of like the best. Like before computers were, you have a database of like the best bouncers in the country. It's like
I just don't get.
You know, like, the best bouncer's Wade or whatever his name was. It's like Wade's washed up. Like that's what reminded me of Moneyball.
Wade's getting old.
He lost a step. His bat speed's not as where once his knife stabbing is not as quick as it needs to be. We need you. I was dying. I'm like, literally, the same thought as you, JD. I was like, going on a recruiting visit to recruit a bouncer. And then he's like, name your price. Like, literally, it's like, I forget what the offer was, but it was like,
I think it's 500. Was it 500 a night?
500 was like maybe $5,000 or something.
I think it was $5,000 up front, and then 500 a night, and then he gets full control. I think that was the deal.
Yeah. He wanted full control for sure. Which it didn't look like he may have had that at the New York joint. So maybe that's why he was looking to just be like the cornerstone of a franchise. I'm not sure, but
he wanted to be the starting quarterback.
Is anyone else a little confused, like how a bouncer just gets hired and turns into like general manager too? Like hiring like
bar operations.
Yeah, like signing a rookie pitcher and you're like, yeah, he's also gonna run operations for the team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very confused about the whole industry of how they just operate fully here. So and I did really want to talk about the knives, because literally it's a requirement in this movie to have a knife on you constantly. Like everyone just,
but not if you're the bouncer.
No knives allowed if you're the bouncer.
No weapons.
Crazy. Yeah, he's got like Batman's morals, like can't kill anyone, like no guns, no knives.
Well, I don't know about the not killing anyone part.
Before. But yeah, no weapons. At least that stays true. I guess his fists are pretty powerful weapons. Which we'll get to
they should register those things.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I think one thing I wanted to talk about Wade, which is actually Sam Elliott, because
Yeah.
every movie I've seen him in, he is how he looks now, like super old. Which ironically he played like an old guy in this, but he like he's almost unrecognizable besides the
Oh, yeah.
voice in that. But I did kind of like, while this movie is basically about nothing, I did kind of like, I don't know if you call it a twist, but the intrigue there where, at the beginning he's like, no, Wade Elliott's the best, because the guy comes in saying like, oh, I've heard you're the best, or not Elliott, Wade, whatever. He's like, no, you're looking for Wade or whatever, and they said he's retired, or I don't know what it was.
He's getting old. Yeah.
Yeah, getting old. Yeah. His OPS isn't what it used to be.
Right.
And
That's
then
dropping by the minute.
yeah, and so it was cool. Then you learn like he's the mentor and everything, and then he comes in like kind of maybe trying to steal his girl too at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like that as well. I got something out of that, like building the characters where I didn't think going into it I would get. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, I still don't really understand. Like, I get he came to visit, kind of just showed up unannounced, but like just kind of starts working for the bar anyway. Like,
Yeah,
he's bouncing in his free. He's on vacation to be a bouncer.
yeah.
Dude,
PTO
changes
to
security, starts stretching the shoulder right when he gets into town. Patrick Swayze getting his
Guy's
ass
ass
beat,
just
just
for, like,
hops in.
Yeah.
It's like him like getting his like bullpen session in. It's just like beating 3 guys' asses, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
what promptly when he arrives. Which
He
like
was,
Patrick Swayze was actually kind of like literally like getting his ass beat by like 5 guys, and then Wade shows up and just like kicks the shit out of him. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
This guys.
He like watches for a few minutes, see like kicks a leg up, he's like smokes a cig, he's like looks like you need a hand, bud.
Yeah. I something you mentioned too, Ryan, I thought was because honestly it gets to a point probably like middle of the movie where I don't even know it. Dalton. I thought it was hilarious. Like he only had one name. You don't know his
Yeah.
first name or his last name. But Dalton, I thought like at the beginning, I thought it was a little bit too, I don't know, kind of like 80s, like try hard to make this guy look like he's super mysterious and all this. Like people would be like, oh, I'm so and so, like clearly like to introduce themselves, and he like just wouldn't. He'd be like, yeah, black coffee.
Yeah.
That's fun. So I thought at first it was trying a little bit too hard to make him like Mr. Mysterious guy, like hard ass, obviously, but it comes around and he makes him not only like personal, like or personable, I guess, like he comes like kind of a fixture in the small town, like he lives at like the farmhouse, but he also just like it becomes part of the community, but he also is like actually kind of interesting as hell, where it's like
Oh yeah.
they'd say he went to like Columbia and all this stuff, and like he's always like reading books, and you're like, okay, this guy's actually interesting. Like, why does he, like you said, JD, like the character development that you didn't expect to see? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, why does this Dalton guy do what he does? Like, why did he take this career route? Obviously they start talking about like shady past. But I agree. I think you talked about it too, Ryan, where like everybody tries to kill him and he's just like unarmed. Like that part reminded me of Harry Potter, where like the whole like 5th to 7th books, Harry Potter's like consistently going up against Death Eaters that are only casting like murder spells, and he's like trying to take their wand away.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like with Dalton. Like each guy's like an 8-foot knife, and he's like, "Be nice."
They get bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
pull machetes out by then in the movie. But yeah, and then there's like the typical 80s, if you call this action or whatever you want to call it as far as genre, but the big town figure that owns like the whole town. Yes. Doug Dimmadome is what he was kind of reminding me of, but and like that whole thing, and then he's basically got a bouncer himself, which kind of is like a knockoff of Dalton, because he kind of got like the mullet-esque hair as well. And that's where it kind of was starting to go downhill for me. Like you have to have antagonists and like a conflict for sure, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I guess, kind of just jumping to the end here, but when it really left, and this was maybe going to be like a kind of above a 50 for me, until he literally grabbed his throat out of his fucking neck. That's just how he kills him. And I was like, okay, I don't like, there's probably.
That was late in the movie. You kind of going for.
I know, I know. I am
last 10
going to the end,
minutes.
but it's just bothering me because, like, I mean, there's so many people on this planet stronger than I am, and I still can't like picture someone just ripping
Oh,
throat out of someone.
I was
That's never-
dying so hard when he had the other bouncer dude or whatever on the ground. He just sits there with his claws.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, you
Like,
throwing
what
a
is?
knuckle?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's got to throw a curveball at him.
Exactly.
I think I agree, Ryan. Like for the first half of the movie, I thought it actually had potential. I thought it could be like, high 50s, low 60s range actually. And then I think where it started going downhill was when Brad Wesley really got into the fold and started, mixing stuff up. But Dalton shopped like twice at that red dude like shop. And then all of a sudden they light his place on fire. Everyone's like, Dalton, Red's place is on fire. I'm like, Red's been here for years. Dalton met him like 2 times. And apparently now Dalton's like best friends with him. Like, I thought that was a little absurd. And then, they're like, well, we all know it's Brad Wesley. He's like, anyone going to take a stand? I'm like, what are the cops doing?
Yeah.
Like,
But he owns the cops too. So
yeah, apparently he just owns
he is
everything.
the cop. Yeah.
He is the law.
Yeah.
That was I mean, you guys nailed it. Like literally my exact thoughts were like, honestly, first like half, I thought I'd have this movie maybe like low 70s, honestly. Like not that bad.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Tom was coming in high.
I thought he was too. Yeah, I really thought he was.
So I thought I was gonna be way lower than you guys. I thought 43 is kind of harsh, but apparently we're all on the same page. But yeah, basically like the first half, I was like, this movie, like I think I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But to both of your guys' point, like, I mean, we talked about it with Joker, like what makes a good villain. Brad Wesley is not that at all.
No.
He's probably the worst villain I've ever seen. Like
sucks.
Because like you said, JD, like classic 80s, like redneck, like town where like one guy owns everything. But to an extent, like when he got into it more, it made it so lame, I thought, because he had no rationale, like he had no, like there was no Joker to it. He was just like, all right, I'm gonna burn down this business. And, like there was
choose, I'm gonna kill one of these two.
Yeah, and like there was no cops. Like, how are there no cops? Like, I get the cop being afraid of the guy because he's rich, but like, how rich can he be? And like, literally, he's like killing people. He trashes their bar, and then he's like, one thing after the next. And I'm like, this is kind of dumb because it's just one guy. Like, nobody can figure out a way to stop it. Like, it just seems a little far fetched. And then, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to like the Scarface type ending, which was out of left field at the end. So.
Also, one thing I don't like about, I mean, you talked about how, he kind of had the mysterious background. Like, I feel like there's all these like plots they were kind of building towards, like, the mysterious background, he's a PhD in like philosophy from Columbia, all this stuff. And then as soon as Brad Wesley gets in it, they just drop all of it. They never even like really talk about his background after that. I'm like, I would have liked, something kind of like a twist or something, but no, it's just like, yeah, philosophy major, nice. And then it's just like, yeah, I'm a bouncer. Like,
it turned into like a Steven Seagal movie very quickly at the halfway mark, which I don't like the movie. I mean, it's not my type of movie. And I know I jumped to the end there, but the one thing I think I got from it is like what he was like running away from or whatever, like apparently slept with some guy's wife and then the guy wanted to kill him, but then he killed him. Is that what you guys got?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, the gist of it is like he killed someone basically, and it like haunted him in some like obscure town like San Antonio.
Yeah, I forget what they said, like Iowa or something, Detroit or something.
Letting San Antonio hold you back.
Yeah.
Fuck it, get over it.
Because he like wouldn't go on a date with the girls or anything.
Yeah,
like, it's classic 80s. Every single girl's just like Dalton.
Yeah. So I mean, then that was, I guess, kind of, but then that so his whole romance with Doc is what Wade called her, which I think that's a funny nickname, but
literally IMDb has her as Doc.
Okay, yeah, I actually
was a doctor.
Actually, but that, I mean, it's kind of cool or whatever that Red took her in or whatever. Is that her uncle or something? I forget what it was.
I think it was uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. So she like watched over him, but then she witnessed the throat scenario that happened, and then she just like she was pissed in the moment and like appalled, which yeah, I mean, why wouldn't she be? But then at the end, she just goes back to him anyway.
Well, like another thing I don't get is the dude's coming at him with a knife, like trying to kill him. Like it's self-defense, like clearly, like
That's true. Yeah, I mean that guy was trying to kill him.
yeah. I mean, like burned down the building, then somehow he runs him down on a
I
motorcycle.
was gonna say
Like,
that. Yeah, he's just running.
don't literally just he's 40 mile an hour, tackle him off the hill.
Yeah,
Perfect form, you know. He led with the shoulder, you're like,
yeah.
but
Lined him up perfectly. Boom.
yeah. And then the guy pulls a knife, and like, I mean, the throat rip might be a little aggressive, but like if you kill a guy with a knife, trying to kill you with a knife, I feel like, you know, there's got to be a little gray area there. We're not too mad at the guy, right?
Yeah.
Because of course his girlfriend, like that's another thing. Like you guys, JD, you talked about the build up and the drop off of like his character.
Yeah.
Like the relationship was like such a big thing. Find out she has like a history with Brad Wesley, and then yeah, she, like you said, she sees him like kill the guy, and she's just like, we're done, basically. And it's like, you'd think it's like you saw that and like, yeah, you probably like we did West Side Story. It was like almost the opposite, where it's like somebody killed somebody, it's like, I forgive you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
This was the opposite, where it's like, yeah, you'd probably be like, holy fuck, the person I'm dating just fucking killed somebody, but also really understand like, okay, it was either gonna die or kill this person. So yeah, I think it wouldn't be as like black and white as the actress show.
Also, I'm glad you brought up the Brad Wesley romance with Doc or whatever, because I don't know if it felt like this to you. Like Brad Wesley seemed like he was like 50, and the Doc seemed like 30. Like I don't know. That's just maybe how I felt, but
no, that's a fact, I think.
Yeah, it seemed like the age difference was wild. It's like, yeah, he used to hit on me a few years ago. I'm like, what? When you were like in grad school still, like 23, and he's like 45 running 6 businesses.
Well, I guarantee I mean, he's a scumbag, so I could see it. And even his like, I don't know, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, that he had, that I thought at the beginning of the movie is who Dalton was going to end up with.
I thought so too.
Yeah, same.
But so I guess that was not a twist, but it was a nice surprise. I mean, she's like the same age or even younger maybe than Doc. So like,
honestly,
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put any age limits past old Wesley.
I also think like, I mean, I know we're from a small town, but I think they're fishing in a small pond a little bit. It seemed like there were like 30 people in the whole town.
Yeah.
So I think Wesley just goes for like whoever he wants.
Wesley kind of took the Voldemort approach, where instead of like, you know, like timing out his attacks like smartly, it's just like every night you just like, all right, same guys that win last night, you're gonna go get your ass kicked again. Like Voldemort would always wait to the end of the school year, make sure, you know, Harry's ready. Wesley's like, all right, whole crew should be working at double deuce, so if you guys want to go rough them up, they just get their ass kicked every night.
Yeah, it's true.
We also haven't talked about how it's called double deuce.
I do love that name though. I like that a lot.
Incredible. What a good name for a bar.
Oh, it was a great name for a bar. But I just like Wesley lived like literally across the pond from him. Like you can't just like send him over.
Not talking about the ocean, like
I don't. Seems like his methods are pretty just aggressive. I'm surprised he didn't send like 3 guns instead of like 2 knives. Like
right.
No, agreed. Like, agree with that. Agree with all of that. But I kind of just remembered my original point of why I started to hate this movie so much, and like why I hate Brad Wesley so much. Because like the main reason all this drama kicked off, like he had nothing to do with Dalton. Like, okay, the plot thickens a little bit when he's like dating his ex or whatever, but you guys remember the main reason Dalton was even on Wesley's radar was he fired his like nephew as a bartender.
Oh yeah.
That's why they tried to stab him in the first place. It's like, dude
was like stealing.
Like, yeah, because he was stealing. And like the first day, you know, Dalton, he's like fires like 3 people and they like all want to kill him. It's like, are you that like in love with your career? Or like you just couldn't get another job? Like
you're a bartender.
Yeah, especially if you're Brad Wesley's nephew, you'd think he would like either have him on payroll or like, hey, what
work
job
at his bar? Like,
like what job do you want? Like that to me was the most unrealistic part. Like, he fired his nephew for like you said, JD, a very legitimate reason, like literal theft, and that was his motivation for him to just like you also said, like there's no like there's no like strategy to it. It's just like, I feel like burning this guy's house down is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Also fired my nephew. Like
Also, like, why wouldn't he just like buy Reds or just take Reds and like let his nephew run it? I mean, you know what I mean? Like instead he just
buy
burns it.
double deuce. Like if he's as rich as he says, like he should own every business. Like
Yeah.
the other thing I hated was like his like thing was he took like a tax from everybody, where he took like 25% of the profits from every business in town.
Yeah.
Something. I was like, that's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for him.
Yeah, so I think that's why he hated Red too, because Red like didn't want to pay him the 25. It's like,
Yeah.
Pretty
no
standard.
shit.
Yeah, pretty reasonable thing to not want to do
Yeah,
as a business owner. But
understandable. But again, there's no cops, so
yeah, also like I don't know how he just started doing. Well, I guess he used his muscle to make sure that happened, but still, like it's just wild that it happened. And like you said, though, I mean, a town of 50 people, you can kind of just push around whoever.
And that's another thing I think about with the cops. Like I understand, pay off the cops or whatever, but small town, everyone knows everyone. Like, did the cops just not have a social life? Like, like every
Probably not.
business goes around getting their ass beat, like getting skimmed off the top, and the cops are just like, yeah, tough luck, Brad's money, baby. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like. I feel like I wouldn't be friends with those cops. Like,
right. That's true. And another random thing is like we talked about like this is so strange, but like we talked about, it's a town of literally like 50 people. Every night the double deuce had like a line at the door.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to start. That was another gripe I had too. I'm glad you brought that up because it literally is like, all right, Dalton like took control of management basically, and then like a week later, it's literally the most popping club like within like 100 miles. Like everyone's driving together.
And
like
yeah,
people get stabbed, like everybody like dancing nicely.
The
like,
same band is there the whole time.
I do. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Cage so they didn't
Yeah.
get stabbed.
Honestly, that Dalton's friend somehow, I don't even think we really knew how they met originally, but he's blind. The guitar, I don't know, well, singer, and I think he somehow played guitar.
Yeah.
Literally the most talented individual of all time. But I liked him a lot. I still do, me and Dalton have our differences with this whole throat fiasco, but I did like him. I think he is a really cool character, like movie character.
Oh, I agree.
But I agree to what you said, Jay, like, could have been better if they, fleshed it out a little bit more instead of just like kind of throwing away all the intrigue and everything.
Well, yeah, they got into all these like plot, like his relationship with the singer dude. They brought in like Wade Garrett, like the old relationship, and then like as soon as Brad Wesley's into the fold, they're just like, "Yep, it's an action movie now." Like, I was like,
I think it's
would have just like a little more character building.
I think it's funny you brought that up, JD, because I was just kind of thinking about it. Like, and Ryan, you brought it up early. Like, the first thing you said was like that it's like the ultimate like guys movie. Honestly, they were probably thinking about that when they and stuff. Where they're just like, all right, halfway through, like we need to just make this people beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, which I don't mind. Like they know what they, like you said, they were probably going in with that. So I don't like. I didn't really like take necessarily like offer that.
Right.
Because like I do think they were self-aware with how they were making the movie and everything, but
they knew their target audience for sure.
Right. I think that's it. They knew it was guys because it also had some Porky's like elements.
Oh my god, some of the humor, like
yeah,
I'm all for like crude humor or whatever if it's in like a tasteful way, but I mean some of this was just borderline like, like just bad. Like I mean, I don't know. It was tough to listen to some of it, I guess. But yeah, it was interesting. But that did remind me of Porky. That like in that part of it was very early on in the movie, as well as just like kind of like you guys were saying, the shots outside of like looking at the bars and everything reminded me of like the Porky, like the whole bar reminded me of Porky's bar.
Oh yeah.
And that whole element. So I was just kind of stuck on that the whole time. Luckily, way better than that movie. But yeah, it was interesting.
No, I like how you give it a 46 and it's way better than another movie.
Yeah, I know, right? But that's just a testament how bad that.
I agree though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was a fun watch for most of it, I'd say.
Did you guys also notice how fast the bar repairs were?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, because like not only like are everyone showing up, but then it's just like a whole brand new place. I mean,
like literally, well, like
Yeah.
they would go to like the owner's office or whatever, like throw people out windows, break the
Yeah.
walls, and like they showed the next night. Literally, you couldn't even tell there was any work done. It was like
Right.
perfect. Like they'd break 7 stools a night. Like
Right.
I
That-
didn't.
No more cage.
No, yeah, the cage just disappeared.
That's
Yeah.
the thing too. And like this all takes place in like 2 weeks. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
Dalton's sticking around for another week. Like he was really there for like, he said in the beginning, he's like, I'm not gonna be here long. So
Yeah.
like to your point, JD, that's why it kind of reminded me of Bar Rescue. If you guys have ever seen that show,
Yeah. John
literally
Taffer.
go from, like, the biggest shithole ever in like a strip mall. Like 2 weeks later, it's literally a line out the door. Things like gorgeous. That's how this bar was, except there was no like rescue. It was just
Yeah, it just happened. It was just
Dalton
Dalton.
was the John Taffer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like without any of the
That beats ass.
I mean,
off-
Dalton did maintenance, bodyguard, well, cooler, like fired people, ran the staff. Like I don't know what he didn't do, honestly.
brewed the
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
Call people. He would call people. Oh, he was the logistics guy because when Bob Wesley or Brad
Oh
Wesley-
yeah, he had to get some
Frozen
new
One, he
liquor.
called another connection. Called his whiskey connection from out of state, and I'm bringing a truckload of it.
Yeah. Also, I know the cops were on Brad Wesley's payroll and stuff, but like they were just openly dealing like a lot of drugs at the beginning. Like it's not like it was just like weed. They're like, yeah, you need crystal. Like,
Yeah, they had everything.
like over the table, like it's salt and pepper. Like, yeah, here you
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
that's why Dalton fired him.
go. Yeah. Oh yeah.
First fireable offense.
Like I mean, we've talked about this, but literally everyone that got fired was like a super legitimate reason. Like most of them were like felonies. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like, you're gonna fire me for that.
Yeah.
Literally, that guy
You're
just
stealing $200 a night and dealing crystal meth. Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty easy decision.
Yeah. I didn't have to think twice about
Right. Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
like I don't know where they're gonna go with the remake because like movies like this don't exist anymore really in any capacity in terms of just like it was kind of like a fad. It seemed like it, I don't know how long the fad lasts, but like of this type of like action movie. Now there still are action movies and everything now, but they're in a different way. I think it's more like about I don't know, like effects and everything, like explosion shit like that versus like slapstick comedy and bare knuckle brawls and stuff where it's so clearly fake that they're not actually like hitting the guy. So yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go with this new one, but obviously I guess we have had seen a scene of it with Gyllenhaal. So my guess is Gyllenhaal like starts the movie as like a UFC fighter.
That's what I'm guessing.
Seemed like he was hitting the guy after the bell or whatever in the scene that they shot. So I'm guessing he gets like kicked out, somehow ends up as a bouncer. I don't know how that's gonna go.
That's what I'm thinking.
But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna take the rest of it from there, but I'm definitely gonna watch it for sure. Because
Basically Diamond Dame then from Creed 3.
wait, what?
Basically Diamond Dame from Creed 3.
Really, honestly, yeah. Which I think anyone that's been watching this for a while, Tom was a huge fan of Creed 3. Me and JD hadn't seen it at the time. I did see that, I think like 2-3 weeks ago. Also love that movie. JD, I don't know if you saw that yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
That's a good comparison.
I won't spoil anything from Creed 3. I will just say Diamond Dame's first fight. It's not funny. I don't know why. I was so hard.
Is that Jonathan Majors?
Yeah.
At his we'll say fight etiquette.
Yeah. It's great. It's actually great.
For sure.
Yeah, him and well, I don't know. I feel like Dalton kind of plays by I don't know, he does have his own rules, and he does have like I think what's that called, like Krav Maga or something.
Oh yeah.
Like that, where he's doing like
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He's on like the roof or whatever doing like it's like kind of like yoga but not.
Seems very 80s. Like it seems like some like Karate
It's
Kid.
the Karate Kid. Yeah. That's what it gave me, big Karate Kid vibes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Wait, Ryan, I'm glad you brought this up. You said something about like you can clearly tell they're not actually hitting each other or something. I don't know if you noticed, like every time they threw a punch, they had like the very obvious sound effect, like
Pow. Yeah, it's like in comic books, like pow. Wham. Yeah. And it's hard to do that. Like I mean, it's insane. Like even because before I rewatched the Creed, I wanted to watch Rockies because I'd never seen that. And like in the original Rocky, like it's kind of bad with that too. Like it's like very obvious, but it's just at that time, like what were you gonna do? Like just film has advanced so much where like
Yeah.
you can make it look like, someone's actually getting beat up. So can't really fault it, but at the same time, it like kind of takes you out of it a little bit
Yeah, I agree.
when it's that bad.
I
But
think that's kind of a good thing about us doing. I mean, we have like nothing off limits on this show in terms of what movies we do. It's not like, hey, we're only doing great stuff, we're only doing new stuff. It's everything. So like we're gonna, like even with this movie, we're looking, we don't love it, but like we're looking at it in the context of like 80s action movie, what they're going for, kind of comparing it. So that is good, I think, what I like with our show, where we're looking at everything holistically as opposed to like just looking at 2023 movies or 2022 movies or whatever.
Speaking of that, Tom, that one of my favorite lost files of our videos is the what was it called? The Kevin James one where
Home Team.
Yeah, Home Team. That was one of my favorite recordings we did because that movie was also just trash, but in the funniest way possible.
Yeah.
If we ever find that, maybe we'll have to restore it for the audience here at some point.
That's why, and that's another reason I picked this too, because we have watched so far since we've been starting this like pretty much only good movies, which is good. I mean, like if you're gonna watch a movie, it might as well be a good one. But I don't know, it's always good to mix in something like this, or even if it's not as bad as this, just like something where it's more divisive, or I don't know. Just something where it's not just all the same. Even though I guess we kind of did all end up the same here, but
right.
Still, I mean, it was different than the ones that we have been watching. So
no, I agree.
It was way different, especially the most recent ones were pretty dark.
Yeah, which I guess this one's kind of dark too, a little bit.
We had a streak
a little
of
bit
dark movies. Like we haven't really done any comedies except for I guess Home Team, and Porky's was technically a comedy, but
Porky's was a comedy.
Porky's was it was something. I wouldn't call it funny, but
call it a crime that it was ever made, but oh well.
Honored to say that was my pick.
I mean, but apparently that was the American Pie of the 80s, so
apparently 81 that came out. I just looked it up.
That's the biggest insult to American Pie I've ever
heard. Agreed.
That's Roadhouse. For those that haven't seen it or have seen it, hope you enjoyed the remnants there. But
that's
like
5 we've seen, I think. That's 45.
I think because that does put it at average 45, and on our this is interesting, on our running list it puts it right under Don't Worry Darling, which is actually only my rating as of right now, but I do also recommend watching that one because that's just off the wall. But then it's also right above Space Jam: A New Legacy, which is the new, not new now I guess, but last year, the year before, LeBron's version of Space Jam, which God, I hated that movie. But so that's where it puts it. Recommend, like we said, kind of recommend watching if you haven't seen it, especially with the remake coming out. It'd be interesting to compare that when that happens. But that does it for this week's movie. Next week, I think it's supposed to be Tom, you picking, but I think we collectively have decided, and we're going to do this probably throughout the year as like really good movies are coming out now in theaters, to mix in a theater movie. This is one that we've talked about many times so far on the show that we're all interested in seeing. It's been out for 2 weeks now. Air, which is the signing Michael Jordan and Nike kind of story, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So heard great things about it so far. We'll be watching that, going to the theaters. So if anyone needs something to do this weekend or whatever it may be, get out to the theaters, watch Air. Might see a little double feature with the Mario Brothers in there. Who knows?
Playing that low key.
Heard things about Mario too.
I John Wick's also on my radar.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the fourth
Heard
one.
good
Yeah.
things about that too.
Yeah. So, and it looks like, this is the time of year where movies just start to get really good as far as, releasing in theaters. So I'm sure we'll mix in some others that come out throughout the year. I know Oppenheimer for sure is probably going to be one of those.
Oh, 100%.
But since this is a squad pick, Tom will still have next week's dibs beyond that. But Air is going to be the assignment, so get excited for that. Also 1986 for the songs for those following along. What else are we watching? For me, still Mandalorian. That finale is next week. Actually, that was pretty quick. Also Succession just dropped. Well, I guess it was Sunday, so not just, but on IMDb, it's a 10 out of 10 episode, which for TV shows, I just saw this today. The only other episodes of all time, apparently, for TV shows, the only other two to get 10s were two of Breaking Bad's episodes, Ozymandias, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and
Yeah.
another one.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would say this last one's a 10 for Succession. It's still really good. But I know you guys don't really watch it yet, so highly recommend that show for anyone that hasn't watched it. But yeah, that's really all I've been watching. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm a few back on the Mandalorian still, but I did get a little caught up. But what I've been watching in the past week is I watched the first and second John Wicks. That's why I brought it up a few times during Roadhouse. I mean, these are like the most action-packed movies I've ever seen in my life.
So, yeah,
But that being said, there's still better plot than Roadhouse.
really good actually.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
think I like
Um,
those a lot.
So I'm actually gonna watch the third one after we hop off this, because I watched the second one earlier today. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been watching.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, Ryan, I actually heard somebody say like that episode of Succession, obviously don't watch it, but they said it was like maybe the best episode of TV ever. So
I've heard that from a lot of people, and like I still think it's really good. But like I'm just thinking about other episodes of TV I'm watching. Like it is a different genre of the other ones I'm thinking of too.
Big about Game of
But
Thrones,
yeah. I mean, there's some Game of Thrones episodes that are
Wire, Sopranos.
incredible. Breaking Bad for sure as well. Even Peaky Blinders. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of just TV out there, so it's crazy. But the fact that people are saying that, I think, is a testament to how good the show is. So,
yeah, I think if you're in the discuss, I mean, I feel like being in the like, I think it's kind of like saying the best song of all time. It's like there's so many songs, like it's hard to
Yeah.
narrow it down. Like best movies a little bit easier because there are less of them. Like I don't know, best episode of the show is hard, but yeah, I've heard really good things. For watching for me, I finished up Full Swing. I know I've told you guys I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
I'm ready for season 2. Hopefully that's coming out at some point.
Yeah, you've had some heartbreaks over the last week finishing Full Swing, realizing some of your players went to LIV months
did.
ago. But
I loved all the guys on Full Swing. I really loved them. Really felt like I was, part of their crew. And then I found out a couple of them went to the Lives tour, which is tough. So
Well, not Joel Damon though, and he had a hell of a day today.
oh yeah, he had
and
5
yeah,
under.
good
Yeah.
deal. He's actually one of my
2 off
favorites.
the lead. Yeah.
He was
Yeah, Joel's definitely one of my favorites. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, so I just finished watching that. I haven't been watching much. I mean, still.
Did you ever finish a Mindy project?
So my girlfriend actually gave me an opt-out.
Okay.
Kind of like, this is getting slow. Do you want to just quit? And I'm like,
Dang.
I actually said I need to see how this ends.
Sticking to.
strong.
I honestly don't blame you though, because like
No, I
Definitely what it's
uh,
worth.
I gotta finish like a movie is way easier to finish, but it can never not finish a movie. I mean, sometimes if you need to pause it and watch the next day or whatever, but like you gotta always go back to it and show a little more different. But at the same time, I think I'd want to do that too. How many episodes do you have left?
Not too many, and they're only 20 minutes. You can kind of fly through it if we could knock out like 3 or 4 pretty easily. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. Yeah. So ashamed to say that I said that. It's true. But I think the next show on my list after we finally finish this is I want to go back and watch Dave with the
Oh
new
yeah.
season of Dave is
I
out.
love that too.
Forgot I did watch those 2 new episodes, which is
Yeah.
great too.
I've heard they're good. Yeah.
I love that show.
I do too. So I'd like to honestly just restart that from the beginning and just kind of like get the train, because those are quick too, and those are super
Very, yeah.
watches. So yeah, I want to watch that. Other than that, I've been watching a ton of baseball. Been, watching my Reds pretty much every night. Catching the other teams as much as I can. The Rays, told you guys this pre-show, they started the season 13-0, which they're the third team to hit 13-0 to start the season. I think it's wild. That's why I like baseball. It's got so many random just oddities. Like starting the season 13-0 is nuts.
Yeah, or just at any time. Like there's
anytime too. Like I love baseball streaks because it's just like they're fun. Like anything can happen. Like you don't have to be the best team in the league on paper to go on a streak. Like
Moneyball.
Moneyball. Exactly. Like things fall in your way. So I think it'd be funny, not funny, but like, I think it'd be cool if the Rays started the season like 20-0 or something. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I also love that shows the disparity between baseball and like every other sport. Like every other, even football teams have been like 19-0. Like basketball, like I forget what the longest streak is. It's in the 20s, I'm pretty sure though. But then like someone does it 13-0 in baseball, and people are like, holy shit! Like, but like every other sport, like, all right, yeah, I mean it's a pretty good start, but you're not even like close to records.
Exactly. I think they win one more, and they have the best start of all time. So. What's also crazy is like the Rays could easily not make the playoffs. Like it's like just because it helps them out, gives them a great kickstart. But yeah, they can miss the playoffs still. So I've been watching that. I've actually been getting back into the reading, trying to do that to kind of like wind down at the end of the night. So
Moby Dick.
Yeah, are you finishing or?
I'm finally like 80. I think it's like 80 pages away. So, dude, I want to finish it so bad because it's actually like relatively entertaining now. Because I'm like, I know it's gonna end, and like there's action and stuff. Like, they had some eyes on Moby recently, so I mean, you gotta get to him eventually. I'd hope. So, it took about 900 pages to even like see the guy. So, no spoilers, but yeah, that's what I got. That's pretty much all I'm doing. I'm obviously gonna watch Air this weekend. I would like to see Mario too, but yeah, that's kind of what I got on the radar for right now. Oh, actually, I was going to say, I got a recommendation today from a coworker for a show that's called The Chosen. If you guys have ever heard of that.
Oh yeah,
I think I have.
My parents love it. Say it's really good.
I typed it in on IMDb. It's a 9.3, and
wow.
the guy, I was like, that literally looks like Jesus. Like
yeah. Is that on Netflix?
It's on like YouTube.
It's on like everything. It's on like Netflix, Prime, and like Hulu, I think.
Oh.
But the first line of IMDb just reminded me of like Joker calling Arthur Fleck a struggling comedian. It said, charismatic fisherman struggling with debt. And I'm like, that's one way to describe Jesus, I guess. I just thought that was funny. So I don't know. I mean, it's apparently has amazing reviews, but I was just gonna see if you guys had either seen that or heard
I heard great things about it.
Yeah, same. He highly recommended it. So but yeah, other than that, that's kind of all I've got going on in like the TV department, the movie department. We covered, cover a little sports, cover a little books. So pretty much all I got.
Covered all the bases.
Cover them all, pun intended.
Yeah, so all good stuff. I think that does it for this week. Sorry, I'm in motion here, but yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed Roadhouse. Next week, Air 1986 as well from songs. Should be a good one. Looking forward to it. Haven't been in a theater in a minute, so excited to get back in there. But yeah, I think that does it for this week. Excited to see everyone next week, and follow along.
All right, we'll see you all next week.
Hey guys.